Hello guys. So over the last couple of days, since pulling the Skyward Pride 5-star Claymore, I've been looking around essentially Reddit as well as YouTube trying to find a nice comparison for it, and I really couldn't find anything too solid. You can compare just general damage, and a lot of people do tend to do that sort of thing, but they don't tend to compare them at the same level. So people that have maybe one Claymore user on the main team, they'll go ahead and have something like a level 80 Wolves Gravestone compared to like a level 70 Prototype Aminus. Not really discuss the other aspects of it. So what I wanted to do is essentially compare the two of them. Both of them are level 80. So it should be a fairly accurate comparison. But the first thing you see off the bat is the fact that the base attack of 5-star weapons is basically nearly 100 more at the same level. The thing that made me think kind of differently of the Aminus compared to the Skyward Pride was the attack percentage. And I thought to myself, well, that's clearly better because I don't really need energy recharge. But then when you equip the two weapons, so first starting here with this weapon, it's 2,383. If you switch to the Prototype Aminus, your AD actually goes down significantly. And obviously going forward, any changes I have, if I switch to better artifacts, or if I get anything else that gives me more attack damage, substats and so on, those will scale off of that base, and the base comes from your characters, basically general attack as well as the weapon damage. So in general, the Skyward Pride will scale better than the Prototype Aminus. That's the first thing to consider. So as soon as you make the change, you should see that your total attack damage is higher. And the one difference between the two weapons, whether you use them or you don't, is actually these. Gosh, what is it called? Is there a way to compare these two? No, I can't. But it's basically the effect. Now you have to realize. Now you have to basically make a decision of whether you want to have better scaling going forward, using your Skyward Pride, that will have a better scaling, or if you don't care, you also have the ability to obviously compare the skills, and maybe this is something that you kind of choose as the precedent, like, okay, this is it. So I personally will be using the Skyward Pride going forward. So all damage is increased by 8%, but what you have to note is that after using an elemental burst, that's basically the cutoff there, and then you have to look into normal and charge attacks that will on hit create a small vacuum blade that does 80% of attack as damage to enemies along its path. It does go quite far out, so what I'll do here is I'll basically demonstrate to you how that really looks. I just need to find some enemies. So I'll teleport probably leeway and fly around. So it feels like he'll be pretty good at kind of killing the enemies that are further away. And as you get stronger, that will end up being better. And I think this weapon is pretty good on physical attack builds as opposed to the electro builds. But even then, I think physical is just better for raise it in general. Alright, give me an enemy so I can give them a little whack. Or maybe I can't see them from here. Right. In a weird case, I for some reason can't find any enemies, despite the fact that they're always there when I'm there. It's alright, we'll find something in a second. So, I think overall, if you have invested into the Prototype Aminus, I wouldn't say that you potentially should 100% upgrade to the Skyward. I think that for the moment, until maybe you end up getting the materials in other fashions, or generally feel like you have enough materials to upgrade your Skyward Pride to actually stop using the Aminus, you can go ahead and do that. However, 100% do keep the Aminus, because at 5 refinement, it's a bit of an easier decision in regards to what you use. So, chances of you refining your Skyward Pride beyond the first kind of level, if you're free to play, is very, very low. You may get to R2 just through pity on the character banner in, not that long. However, when it comes to using it down the line, alright, anyway, so let's see if we can demonstrate this. Probably need more enemies. Oh, there we go, more enemies spawned. See, I want energy recharge. Just give me some energy. Alright, cool. So here you would have to use this, and as you do this, you can see that the weapon is glowing. And each time I attack, you see those waves that are flying up behind me, like in front of me there. See? So you use eight of them with a 20 sec, or within 20 seconds you can use them up, so you can store them for longer. And the effect of this weapon has been used up. However, now I have my energy back, I can use it again. Hitting enemies will obviously generate that thing, but so if we go to these, so 20 seconds, it's still in effect, and you can use it again. So if you have a team that raises your, see, they're coming out again. If you have a team that raises your energy recharge on your abilities, which is obviously what this weapon does as well, you will be able to proc it much more often than the Aminus. The Aminus having a cooldown of 15 seconds and it's just one attack. So you can't really manage it. If you're trying to deal with some enemies, if you run away and come back to them and you want that AoE to pop onto multiple people, because it's a very small AoE, you will have some trouble doing that. Now, switch back here to Aminus. The damage will go down on my attacks. It's not going to be significant yet because I don't have attack roll stats on most of my artifacts. That will end up being just so much higher down the line. So to make that change, you have to know that things, you will get better scaling with the Skyward Pride. And I think the ability, especially if you have official on your team, you'll be able to use Razor's ultimate so often that you'll consistently be proccing that essentially AoE, which is not the case with the Aminus. If you go into contact in a small group, it's going to pop in that area and deal AoE damage. Aside from that, that's pretty much where you are. Alright, let's see here. So I'll jump down on these. So there, it pops, right? So I hit those 3 characters. That's fine. But then kind of going forward, the general weapon itself, until that is replenished, is pretty much pointless. Like the actual alternative sort of Skyward just has more damage with each attack, and you probably can just proc it more often. And if you do have to run away from something to heal, the Skyward will still stick with you. So that's sort of why I would put it ahead of the Aminus. And the reason I did the video is essentially because the majority of discussion out there concentrates solely on the Wolf's Gravestone against the Aminus, and I think that you would kind of be thinking, okay, well, I should be trying to aim for one or the other, but that's not the case. So there you go, it popped there, see? The attack just popped there, and now I'm not doing any extra damage. In terms of these attacks, I mean, I can test it in here, switch the weapon halfway through, and then see how often we can pop it. I might be able to go into domain in the future if you go ahead and reply to the video saying that you want some more. I'm going to have to switch to Barbara here, which is going to skew the results. Okay, so he's powered up now. So that attack, I don't know if there's a proc to see when it actually does work, but it'll pop. There you go, it pops. So the big damage boost is there. But if we go ahead and equip the Skyward Pride, I can't equip during battle. Okay. I wonder also, actually, hold on, I'm gonna run away and see if I can equip the weapon. If I can, then I'll come back, and if the enemies are still there, I want to test to see if those waves go through those shields. Oh, these guys are not going to help me, are they? Alright. That's sort of the big positive with using the weapon on Razor specifically, because Razor gets his ultimate quite quickly. Alright, so have it equipped. We'll return back there, and we'll see how we do. Obviously, the ultimate is going to do damage through it too. But I wonder if they will provide some white numbers as opposed to just the electro damage. Alright. Run to me. Oh, wrong one. Do they do damage? But let's say you actually play Razor properly. You will be able to cast that ultimate much more often. If you do this, you get a stack. Right? That regenerates your energy. And it maxes out at 3. So in a prolonged battle, you will be able to use it much more often. Never mind. I'm probably... I want to do some final kind of discussion topics about this before I kind of head off. So I'm not going to go into the big numbers, go into the same character, hitting them with the attack and showing you what the difference in damage is. Because at the end of the day, the Skyward Pride is going to hit harder. If you exclude the increased... If you actually just completely exclude the effect, those physical attacks are going to be running off of the base attack of that weapon. So it will be higher on the Skyward Pride. The one time that the Prototype Aminus will be higher is when it procs its ability. Then you see a big pop and do a lot of damage in a small AoE. However, I think Skyward Pride is considerably better than the Aminus purely because you scales better as a character if you equip the weapon, because you just have higher base attack damage. If you factor in the abilities, they serve very, very different sort of points. The Aminus does a lot of damage in a small AoE every 15 seconds. And it does 300% of your attack damage. This here, they do 80% of your attack damage, but for a total of 8 times. So the actual total damage is gonna end up being, I think it's higher. I don't know how that really truly scales, but this should be higher in general if you hit them all with the attack. So overall, when you get this to the Refinement 5, that number will probably be higher than this, because I'm probably never going to be able to refine this. This will get to a stage where this is going to be stronger. And for dealing with single mobs, this is going to be better. Because if you go to something like the Pyro Flower or the Cube, it's a single enemy, it's going to blow up right in his face, dealing a lot of damage. So it will be better. However, for those particular situations, but as an overall sort of use case, for most of you, Skyward Pride will be better. So you don't need to always think about using this as having to get the Gravestone to use instead of the Aminus. If not, use the Aminus. I would recommend using the Skyward Pride, and if you are not too high of a level and haven't invested too much in your Prototype Aminus, do try to get your Skyward Pride up. If you have the resources, if you're roughly AR 40 to 45, the domain that drops the gear to level it up, it took me probably about 10 runs to get the materials required. I did it on stream. So you can go ahead and do that, level it up, and sort of be finished. If you invested up to level 90, let's say, and watching this later, most of you shouldn't be looking at level 90 just yet. I think you can probably, leave and use the Prototype Aminus. It will get better with time. But you can also maintain the Prototype Aminus, and it's going to take you a long time to get this, because every single week you do not get the Claymore drop from the weekly bosses. I've had a total of 2 Prototype Aminuses. One of them was free, one of them was from the shop. Not a single time have I received one from a weekly boss. It's been a month now of doing these bosses, and therefore I don't see myself for a pretty long time getting Refinement rank 5 on the Aminus. So concentrate on the Skyward Pride if you get it. If you invested too much and you don't have the resources, stick to the Prototype Aminus. The difference isn't that drastic, but having a 5-star weapon is cool, and it will scale better into level 90. It will scale your character better going forward. That difference in damage, maybe even at Refinement 5, will be made up from the fact that you can use this, I think, more often. And you kind of know when it's coming. So if you pop your ultimate, you know that you have them, then you can go in. With this, you kind of can't keep track on exactly when it's there. So even if you could slide in, hit an opponent, hit him for a lot more damage than a single attack, you don't know when it happens. You have to count in your head. This, you know exactly. It doesn't have a cooldown. It literally just works whenever you pop your ulti. So if you set up Fischl and Razor, you should be popping the ultimate as soon as it comes up. Especially for the attack speed steroid, just extra damage from the electrical is just good. So my personal opinion is level up the Skyward Pride unless you have no resources. Then you should be good enough to use whatever. What's looking to attack me? Never mind. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. If you want more comparisons between the two weapons and I'll try to do it in a bit more detail, do let me know. I just wanted to basically give you my opinion as to which weapon is better for you. It could be that the Prototype Aminus, you like the appearance more of, you don't mind the scaling, or maybe even you don't run off of your attack stat. Maybe you're a person who's building a crit build, doing a physical damage build. Maybe you don't care about your scaling attack as much. Or maybe you want to get as much scaling attack while still trying to maintain that high crit and high critical rating. So you can do that too. Right, well this will be me. I'll show you, if you're wondering about my damage there, the artifacts on my Razor are a bit scuffed. So this is my flower. This is my feather. See, I put this on as these two stats and it's still attack. The cup is attack with some crit damage and some basic attack, and this is attack with attack and energy recharge, because I have two freaking HP ones and a critical damage one on my Klee with bad substats. Anyway, I'm going to end it there. Do let me know if you do want me to go deeper into this. I personally will go with Skyward Pride, but the Aminus is not bad. Take care.